everybody. Welcome. Here we go. It's that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org. And of course, you can go to mattconnerton.com for all your live streaming audio and video options. We're on the Facebook, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And hello to our friends at Raw Talk Online. And wherever you are, wherever you go, we're gonna go through it it's really only for 2 hours, just 4 to 6. But anyway, so welcome everybody. It is Tuesday, March 13, 2021, and it's a warm day. It's almost humid out. It's starting to feel like summer. It's still only April, and it's starting to feel like summer a little bit, but anyway. So, here we are. Welcome everybody. By the way, I want to remind you, of course, we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan at 1000 Elm Street, right across the street. I ran into Peter White earlier. He was still in the building. I couldn't talk him into staying. I always try to talk him into staying when he's here. But, he was saying he wanted to go to the Hop Knot, but unfortunately, Monday and Tuesday is their weekend. I said, not today, my friend, not today, but they will be open tomorrow. Of course, they're open Wednesday through Sunday. They have delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine. They have trivia night Thursday nights. Friday night, they have live music. Our new friend Grant Lampton plays there Friday nights doing the solo acoustic thing. Sundays, they have brunch. It's an amazing place. Great food, great service, and a great family that owns and operates it. So thank you all for continuing to support our wonderful sponsor. And thank you to them for continuing to support our show and, of course, the station WMNH 95.3. So we're very proud and honored to have that association with them. And, of course, our other sponsors as well, Queen City Cabinetry, our friend Mike Pelopita. I see him in the Facebook live chat, and he's a great supporter of all the shows here at WMNH. And he, for those of you watching online, this is the flag that he brought in yesterday for Daryl Dion, his big walk down to Elm Street. What is it called? I'm blanking on the name. It's not Elm Street Pizzeria, right? Or is it? I know I'm close. Tim Baines, his new restaurant there. Apparently, Daryl, for those of you who have been following along, Daryl made it down and back with 8 minutes to spare. The challenge was, could he do it in 45 minutes? And he did it. Elm Street Pizza? Is that what it is? It's just Elm Street Pizza? That's what Jenny says. Okay. I don't know why I thought it was Elm House of Pizza or something like that. Hey, look, everybody, I've said on the show before, I'm suffering from adult onset dyslexia, so forgive me. But, so the challenge was, could he make it down there and back? Daryl Dion, walking from here, to the pizza restaurant. Could he make it down there and back within 45 minutes? And he made it, and he had 8 minutes to spare, so that would be, I'm terrible at math, but that would be 37 minutes. So, congratulations to Daryl Dion. And everyone who participated, this morning, Peter, when I ran into him a little bit ago, he was very enthusiastic about this morning's show. I didn't get to hear all of it, but I heard part of it. And, a great success, and a lot of wonderful people, got involved and took an interest in it. So congratulations to everyone, but, especially Daryl Dion. He truly is an Iron Man. So, I don't want to say Iron Man. That's trademarked. That's like Marvel Comics or something. I don't know much about this, but he's an Iron Man. 2 words. So very good. Very good. Well, if you'd like to join us on the show today. Oh, actually, before I give the numbers too, Rob Dion says Daryl is a superstar. Yes. I will be joined. Speaking of superstars and Iron Men, I will be joined later in the show, probably kind of toward the end, maybe the last half hour. By a gentleman named Paulie C. His real name is Paul Cormier. Most people pronounce it Cormier, but, I insist on pronouncing his name correctly because he did tell me once. It's actually Cormier. It's French or something, I guess. But anyway, most of you know him as Paulie C. of Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C., which you can hear every Friday night beginning at 7:30 p. right here on WMNH, and I have the honor and privilege of being Paul's co-host on that program, along with our great friend Dan Randlett. But Paul is going to pop in on this program later, or at least that is the plan. I told him he's always welcome. You know, we continue to keep a tight bubble on this show because Jenny and I are both high risk. You know, I have asthma and she's immunocompromised. So for now, we've been keeping it, just within the household and within the station. So within the household, meaning basically just Jenny and I, and also Christian Lacoste because he lives with us now. And within the station, if somebody else who actively hosts a program here at WMNH, so they're here on a consistent basis anyway, we allow for that as well. That's why I always try to talk Peter into staying. Sometimes he says yes, but sometimes he's got places to go and people to see. So, occasionally Peter will hang out with us, or sometimes on Friday, Rob Azevedo will pop in. But that's been how we've been doing it here on this program. And we'll continue to do so until such time as Jenny and I are both fully vaccinated. And at that point, we will, reevaluate and reassess. Maybe we'll revert back to whatever the guidelines are that the station has set. Like I said, we do something a little stricter for this program just because, like I said, Jenny and I are both high risk. And, yesterday on the show, we got into a little bit about the concerns about the South Africa variant. And apparently the Pfizer vaccine, the South African variant, according to the study that was done in Israel, which had a very small sample size, seems to be able to kind of break through the Pfizer vaccine. But still, the vaccine, even if it is less efficacious when it comes to the South Africa variant, it's still better than not being vaccinated, and it's still going to offer you some level of protection. So, hopefully it keeps you out of the hospital. But knowing that one of these variants is able to break through, and that literally is what they call it. They call it a breakthrough infection when it happens. Knowing that it's able to break through the Pfizer vaccine, we're going to wade into it carefully. So, I have Jenny has her second shot tomorrow. I have my second shot April 26th. And then 2 weeks after that, from everything that I've read, 2 weeks after that, I will be considered fully vaccinated because it takes a couple of weeks for the body to do its thing, to respond and build those antibodies and so forth. So around May 10th, at that point, we'll see how we're feeling. I don't mean how we're feeling in terms of sickness or lack thereof, but just how we're feeling in terms of the whole scope of things, if we want to begin to loosen things here up a little bit during the 4 to 6 day part, as we say in radio here at WMNH. So we'll see. We're proceeding carefully. Jenny and I had a conversation about it recently. I think I surprised her a little bit. She brought up, what are we going to, what should the protocol be once we're both fully vaccinated? And I said, I don't even really want to talk about it yet. I really just don't even want to think about it until the moment comes, where I feel like it's, like we're ready to potentially make a change. So, and go back to the way things were. We continue to do very well in New Hampshire, of course, as we're number one in the country in terms of getting the vaccines dispersed. But, and then there was, concerning news today about the J&J vaccine. I see Wayne, making reference to it, our friend Wayne Noel, all the way from Michigan in the chat room. J&J, the federal government wants to put a pause on that. And we'll probably discuss that more in depth today. There's some question about maybe, is it an overreaction to put a pause on the J&J? There's been blood clots in some people who have had it. However, it's, that expression you hear 1 in a million. Well, also a very controversial, Guns N' Roses song. It's like less than 1 in a million, your chances of having any kind of a reaction. Well, I shouldn't say any kind of a reaction, but the kind of reaction that has become a concern with these blood clots. It's less than 1 in a million shot that anything like that is going to happen to you. So that has sparked a debate about, well, should we be putting a pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? Is it reasonable to do so? The odds of you having any kind of issue are so infinitesimal that it may just be not necessary. Yeah, Jenny points out in the chat, only 6 people in the entire country have had that happen. So, and in total, we've vaccinated over 120 million people now that have had, at least one shot. I mean, not 120 million of the Johnson & Johnson specifically, but 120 million people who have been vaccinated in total, which is why, it's something to keep in mind if you're discussing with someone their tendency to be hesitant about the vaccines, or if you yourself are hesitant. Look, 120 million people have been vaccinated, and the incidence of 6 people with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine had blood clots. And by the way, I hope no one takes it wrong. I'm not trying to minimize that this catastrophic outcome has happened for those 6 people. That's terrible. So I don't want anyone to think I'm being callous about that. I'm just saying, though, statistically, I would have zero fear of getting the Johnson & Johnson. Statistically speaking, I'm glad in a sense I got the Pfizer because of all the numbers in terms of efficacy. Pfizer seems to be the best, but I would have no hesitation about getting the Johnson & Johnson because, Jenny says 1 dead and 1 in critical condition. Yeah, so pretty damn safe. Again, if you're just looking at statistics. Less than 1 in a million, my friends. But anyway, so we'll see what we get into today. This is one of those days where I ran into Kyle Heavey earlier, and he was asking me, what was on the agenda. I think Peter did as well, and I said, it's one of those things where we'll kind of see where the show takes us not because there's not enough things to talk about to choose from. It's the opposite. It's an embarrassment of riches, as they say, because there's many different things going on at once. And so I kind of I have many different browser tabs open on my computer, and I have to kind of feel my way through it, and we'll see where the show takes us. But you do have an opportunity to have some influence on where the show takes us. If you'd like to call us, 603-250-6007 is the numbre. 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton. Please follow me on Twitter if you don't do so already. And, of course, you can email me during the show, or anytime, really, matt@mattconnerton.com. But if you email me during the show, I'll read your email live on the air. And, of course, you can opine and interact in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007. Again, just quick programming notes just to remind you, our friend Paulie C. will be joining us at some point during the second hour today. And Friday, apparently it's going to be Friday this week, our friend Easy G will be Skyping in with his entertainment report. So, Scott Robinson, if you're listening, you will have to be a little bit patient and wait until Friday. Oh, and speaking of Easy G, so he called in yesterday and was talking about, the money that he's been raising for the Relay for Life, and we love Easy G, and we genuinely do. I always say, we pick on him a lot. We give him a hard time. But like I always say, whatever ball breaking is done on the show is all done with great love and affection. We love Easy G, and he has now raised over $1,800 for the Relay for Life. That is his new total. So I forget what he said. I think he said $2,000 was his new goal yesterday when he called in, I think. But he's going to, at the rate he's going to break right through that. So the Relay for Life, it's wonderful to raise money for cancer research. And this might be him calling. It would not surprise me. Let's find out together. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, it's Easy G.
It's Easy G.
I hope Scott Robinson is listening because I have 10 new Amanda McCarthy dates
10?
on the agenda on Friday.
What, is she going out on a national tour? My goodness.
Yeah, and I got some other breaking news. I'm gonna share it on Friday.
Breaking news? Oh, but you're gonna share it on Friday.
It happens to be one happens to be somebody named McCarthy with some big news. So it's a tease for Friday.
Is it Amanda McCarthy big news?
Well, I can't say right now because if I say now, it will be a big news on Friday.
Well, you pretty much.
It's out there on Facebook.
You already said it had to do.
The person knows who. If this person, this person is on Facebook. So if you're Facebook friends with a certain person, you already know the breaking news. But if you don't, I'll announce it on Friday.
All right. Well,
we can just announce it now. Mark McCarthy is going on a.
Wait! Hold on! Oh, stop! Hang on! Wait, what? Are you really going? You're really going to announce it now? I mean, you kind of already did, but I talked over you. But Easy G, wait! You can't just hold on. You know what I have to do. I'm going to ask you to repeat it in a moment, but we need to.
All right.
We need to do this right, my friend. Here we go. Breaking news.
Yes, well, apparently Mark McCarthy, Amanda McCarthy's brother, has signed some kind of contract, and he's going to be going on tour with the no New England dates right now, no New England dates, but he's touring with this fellow named Clay Walker. You ever heard of him?
I have heard of Clay Walker. Clay Walker's a big star.
Mark McCarthy is part of the band, I guess, by playing the guitar. That's my guess, and he can sing too. So my guess is he's doing a little bit of both.
Very nice. Well, congratulations to Mark McCarthy.
I know, it's big news. It was his secret plan that he'd be keeping all this information under the table, pretty much. Huh?
Well, he probably wanted to save it so that you could make a big breaking news announcement.
Yeah, like I said, his sister's got 10 dates to be announced on Friday, so that's pretty good.
Oh, that's fantastic!
It's good to be named McCarthy at the moment, I guess.
I guess McCarthy's a good name. The luck of the Irish. It is an Irish name.
Right. He just moved down to Nashville like a couple weeks ago, so he must have got some good luck.
Oh, Mark McCarthy just moved to Nashville a couple weeks
ago?
Yeah,
he just moved down there just like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
The moving van down there, yeah.
Oh, very nice. Well,
but now he's not going to be there because he's going to be on tour going all over the place. Huh?
Well, that will be his home base. But, I mean, there is a certain, particularly in the country music world, EZG, there is a certain, it gives you a little extra credibility, a little bit of gravitas if you can say you live in Nashville.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Music City, USA. The home of the Grand Ole Opry.
I guess I'm going to start going on a little bit of a tour in May because there hasn't been a lot of tours anywhere.
Now, you're a drummer. Maybe you should audition. Maybe you can play drums for Clay Walker, and you and Mark McCarthy can be in the band together.
If anybody should play drums, it's Amanda McCarthy's boyfriend, Tom. He's a drummer. I'm no drummer. I haven't played drums since I was in junior high school. So.
Yeah, you can't measure up to Tom, can you?
No.
Well,
anyways, I've raised some more money for the relay. I'm at $1,801.
That's incredible. Now, what did you say?
It is incredible. $199 towards the new goal. Yep.
Okay, so the new goal is $2,000. I think you're going to break right through that. I think you're going to break right through it.
It's amazing because for like 30 days I didn't raise any money, and all of a sudden I've raised a ton of money.
All of a sudden,
very weird.
The floodgates opened. I think you got the Matt Connarton Unleashed bump. Now,
I don't know.
Now let's
whatever it is. I'm grateful to have it.
I'm pretty sure. I'm happy to take credit. Now, just to remind everyone. So the Relay for Life. Explain again what that is for those who don't know.
Oh, it's American Cancer Society, and the relay is going to be on June 5th in Concord this year, way up north. We're having it this year.
The White Mountains
I think
of Concord.
It takes like 20 minutes to get there, but
yes.
6 to 9 over at the Concord NHCI. Obviously, Texas. Mike knows what that is.
Yes, he is a student there.
He's going to be in the field over there. One of the fields they have at the Concord. Yeah. And if you want, like I said, if you want to donate, you can go to my Facebook page. And you would find the Relay for Life post, and you hit that little button. It's called Donate. And there you go. You so choose.
And so people can find you on the Facebook. You are Eric Gagnon.
Right.
So for anyone who doesn't know, we want to make sure people can. Although you should have an Easy G celebrity page or something, but you are Eric Gagnon on Facebook. So for people who want to go to your Facebook page and download, donate to the Relay for Life, they can.
Right.
Yeah, congratulations, EZG.
It is quite amazing.
You're doing fantastic.
Because originally my goal was $1,000, and now $801 over that goal. So
I remember, yeah. No,
crazy.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Fantastic.
I know, it's great.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll let you go, and I'm gonna somebody else wants to call. I haven't heard from Ron lately, so if Ron's listening, give the station a call. Perhaps
he will. All right, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye. All right, EZG, Eric Gagnon, our official entertainment reporter. He'll be doing that on Friday this week, and apparently I hope Scott Robinson is listening, because Eric will have 10 brand new Amanda McCarthy dates to announce. That is fantastic. Well, that does open up a line for you, 603-250-6007, if you would like to buzz in, 603-250-6007. And let's take a moment and say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. On the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page, Mike Pelopita looks like first one in today. Mike's a top fan. I mentioned earlier, of course, he's from Queen City Cabinetry, one of the wonderful sponsors and supporters of WMNH. Mike says, good afternoon, everyone. Bobby Champagne says, Heidi ho, neighbors. Brian Mackey, all the way from Idaho, says, second shot Tuesday. Oh, today? Very good, very good. Wayne Noel, I mentioned, top fan from Michigan, says happy Tuesday all. Bobby says, I get my second the first Friday in May. Jenny says, OMG, yes, referring to, I opened with that newly released, Prince song, Welcome to America. I played that, and I played also the new Dave Grohl, Mick Jagger, or actually, I'm sorry, I should put Sir Mick first. Mick Jagger and Dave Grohl, their new collab. I believe the young people say that now. You know, I try to use the young hip vernacular to attract that audience. The young people, they call it a collab, which is short for collaboration. Their new song, Easy Sleazy. Very appropriate, because we just heard from EZG. But, yeah, great song. I love it. You know, it's got a pandemic theme to it. And Jagger, obviously, he's kidding, of course. In the lyrics, he talks about, you know, having Bill Gates in his blood now and this and that. But, yeah, great song. Mick Jagger, 77 years old. And, he still sounds great. His voice sounds exactly the same, to me anyway. Just amazing. But, yeah, great song. So we opened with a couple brand new great songs from classic artists. Yeah, Jenny hadn't heard the whole song yet of the new Prince song, Welcome to America. She'd only heard the preview. Brian Mackey said regarding the vaccines, they pushed them out here 21 days in between, no 15-minute wait after odd. Yeah, of course, here it's 28 days, I think. Well, I got mine. When did I get my first shot? March 29th. And my second one is April 26th. Yes, and they like you to wait for 15 minutes. Well, if you go to Southern New Hampshire University for it, which is where we take Jenny for hers, they make you wait. You have to sit there, because they give you the shot right in your vehicle. When I went to get my shot at the Steeplegate Mall in Concord, you just go and sit in a room, and you're kind of on the honor system as far as how long you wait. I did wait the full 15 the day I got the shot. Let's see. Bobby said, referring to Brian Mackey, you people in Idaho are easier to replace. Just kidding. And he says, Brian, I appreciate your good humor. LOL. What nice weather here in Manchester. It is a beautiful day. It's another beautiful day. There is a lack of rain. There has been a lack of rain, which has me a little bit concerned, because we're probably going to end up in another drought like we did last year. Rob Dion joins us in the Facebook live chat. Rob is a top fan and, of course, part of the WMNH family, host of his own program, Through the Stage Door, and is the entertainment reporter on the morning show Thursday mornings. Every Thursday, Rob brings in his keyboard and they do Name That Tune, a very popular segment on the morning show with Peter White. Let's see. Rob was commenting Daryl is a superstar, Daryl Dion. Very successful in his endeavor this morning, his challenge. Abigail Jem joins us and says, hi, folks. Bobby says, I wasn't kidding when I said I wouldn't be able to walk that far without a month of training minimum. Daryl's in great shape. Apparently Daryl lost a lot of weight. He used to, he was, I can't even imagine him. It's funny how when you know someone who's always been thin, it's hard to imagine them heavy, but, he's lost a lot of weight over the years and really committed to his health. Now that he's in his early 70s, but, to hear him tell it, he feels great. Miriam says it's Elm Street House of Pizza is the, name of, Tim Baines, his, new establishment there. Hello, Miriam. Bobby says, I'm going to challenge myself to duplicate Daryl's walk around my own neighborhood. Good for you. He says, by the end of summer, I'd like to be in great shape at 62 years old. I'm just not that healthy. So Wayne mentioned the J&J banned at federal facilities. I know they're we'll get into it in more detail, but I know they're having a meeting, I believe, tomorrow to try to figure out how long should this pause be on the J&J vaccine. The country has been doing so well at getting people vaccinated. We're not doing well with our COVID numbers because at the same time that we're getting vaccinated, millions of people are saying, okay, cool, the pandemic's over now. I guess we can engage in all the reckless behavior we want, and it doesn't matter. Plus, of course, you've got all the people who never took it seriously to begin with, who now take it even less seriously than ever. So we're actually not doing well with COVID nationally. Numbers are spiking, and we're definitely in another big surge. But we are doing well with the vaccinations, so there is hope that by summer things will be somewhat normal. But, once again, the country has made a the population has made a collective decision that we're going to try to max out on the sickness and death on our way to finally getting everyone vaccinated for some reason. I'll never understand it. It's just, the selfishness and the narcissism, but, that's the culture we live in. Let's see. Bobby said, why mention 1 in a million? Not to me anyway. I never win anything. Yeah. And Brian said there's still time. Get the J&J and see if you win a blood clot. Well, I would certainly hope not. Dan Lavasser is in the chat room. Dan is a top fan. He says, the blood clot was pre-menopausal women, I thought, specifically. Yeah, I believe that is true. In all the cases thus far, it is women age, 18 to early 50s? I forget the exact age range, that have suffered blood clots, thus far, which is interesting. And I'm sure, I'm sure they're trying to figure out exactly why is that happening to, specifically to women and in that age range. Bobby says, he is definitely not, premenopausal. Let's see. Melanie La Liberty is in the chat room and says, CDC and FDA is recommending to keep an eye on women age 18 to 48. Thank you. I've heard rumors that may be tied to oral contraceptive use. That's interesting. I had not heard that, but that is interesting because there have been other things over the years. I mean, we call it, in casual parlance, the pill, which is the most popular form of birth control in the country. But I've read things and heard things over the years, over the decades about, well, the pill may be linked to this or that complication, but these are all things that are extremely rare. So maybe there's a link there with this vaccine. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Well, we're caught up with the chat. I do want to look at this a little more closely as far as the vaccine. There's a story from thehill.com. Let me give the number again quickly if anyone wants to dial in, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Thehill.com is reporting White House seeks to reassure after the J&J vaccine pause. So it says here, the White House today sought to reassure the public after health officials called for a pause on the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine because of rare cases of blood clots in vaccinated people. Anthony Fauci, the government's top infectious disease expert, and Jeff Zients. By the way, I love that his name rhymes with science. Jeff Zients, the White House coordinator for the COVID-19 response, were added to the daily press briefing today. Zients argued that the pause would not lead to a major hit to the U.S. vaccination efforts, which is reassuring to hear because, that was one of my first thoughts, as I'm sure for many of us, is this going to slow us down? We've been doing well, 1 million vaccinated in a day. And then there came a point where it was 2 million people vaccinated in a single day, and then 3, and then 4 million vaccinated in a single day. We're just rolling along. Like I said, I believe the number is about 120 million thus far have received at least one dose of a vaccine in the U.S. So we're doing very well with that. So here's what he said, quote, "Let me start by saying this announcement will not have a significant impact on our vaccination program. The J&J vaccine makes up less than 5% of the more than 100 million reported shots in arms in the United States to date." I didn't realize, by the way, and that's good, I didn't know that number was that small. I assumed that there hadn't been nearly as much J&J as Pfizer and Moderna because those two were first. But I didn't realize the number was that low. I didn't realize it was less than 5% of what had been administered so far. So that's good. There are 28 million doses of the other two vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna going out this week. Zients said, quote, "We have more than enough supply of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to continue the current pace of about 3 million shots per day," unquote. That's good. That's very reassuring. Zients, when asked directly by a reporter about vaccine hesitancy, he said, "Look, hesitancy amongst a group of people is a challenge, and we need to be addressing it, and we are. Do you think..." I'm sorry. That's what Zients said in response to the reporter. The reporter had asked the question, do you think the announcement of this pause will increase or decrease vaccine hesitancy? So, and obviously Zients isn't going to stand there and say, well, yeah, I mean, sure it is. That's the concern, but no. He said no, he doesn't think that. So that's good. That's reassuring. Both Zients and Fauci sought to argue that the Food and Drug Administration and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention taking the action that they did showed that the system is working and safety checks are in place. Fauci said, quote, "The fact that a pause was done, I think, is just a testimony to how seriously we take safety and why we have an FDA and a CDC that looks at this very carefully, and hopefully will resolve it within days to weeks. I think it's a very strong argument for safety, actually," unquote. The pause was initiated because of very rare cases of blood clots. Just 6 out of 7 million Johnson & Johnson vaccine doses administered have been reported so far. No serious safety programs have been reported with the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines. For people who already got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, Fauci reassured, quote, "I would tell them to just, first of all, don't get an anxiety reaction because remember, it's less than 1 in a million. However, having said that, pay attention. Do you have symptoms? Headache, shortness of breath, chest discomfort," unquote. People with those symptoms or leg pain or abdominal pain within 3 weeks of vaccination with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine should contact their doctor, the FDA said. So, it will be interesting to see how that plays out. Melanie in the chat room says she bets it will be unpaused next week. let's see. She also said the White House said they just want to get medical teams ready to respond if someone gets J&J, to ask if they got, if they got vaccine in the past, I can't, she might be using voice to text. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Melanie, but Bobby said, I really think by Memorial Day weekend we will be as close to back to normal as we have been in over a year. Oh, sure. Absolutely. And then the question arises, what happens? And some of you listening might have already run into this, might have already encountered this challenge. What happens if you already have an appointment scheduled and you were supposed to get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? CNBC is reporting states rush to replace J&J vaccine appointments after FDA recommends a pause. More than 24 states took steps to halt inoculations with Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. Those actions came after the FDA and CDC recommended a pause. We know about that already. For appointments with J&J's vaccine scheduled for Tuesday, New York vaccination sites will use Pfizer's version in its place, a top health official in the state said. So I would imagine that in some cases, because remember, it's not a matter of there not being enough supply at this point. It's more of a matter of not having enough people to administer the vaccinations, because you can't just, it's not like there's no home kit for this, right? Where they just send you something and you stick yourself at home. Like, you need someone who knows what they're doing to be able to administer the vaccine. So I would imagine that in many cases it will be a matter of not doing the Johnson & Johnson, but instead having to do Pfizer or Moderna, but also having to schedule that second appointment. And the way it works now here in New Hampshire is Jenny and I each had the same experience. After they administer the first shot, because we both got Pfizer, after they administer that first shot, they give you a card, and it's got the date for your next appointment, which is, 28 days later. So you show back up same time for your second shot. So I assume in cases where they were planning to not have to do that, they will now have to do that. So that will, in that regard, that will prolong the process of getting people vaccinated, because you're going to have fewer people getting this one and done and more people who are going to need that second appointment. But CNBC is reporting more than 24 states took steps today to halt inoculations with J&J, shortly after the FDA recommended to pause its use. The states, like the FDA and the CDC, stressed that they were acting out of an abundance of caution, as more than 6.8 million doses of J&J's vaccine have been injected, and only 6 of the blood clotting cases have so far been reported. That's how we get the 1 in a million, by the way, because it's 6 cases out of 6.8 million. J&J said in a statement that no clear causal relationship has been identified between the rare type of blood clots and the vaccine, adding it is working closely with regulators to assess the data. New York Health Commissioner Dr. Howard Zucker said that New York will immediately stop administering the single-dose J&J inoculation and will use Pfizer's 2-shot vaccine in its place for already scheduled appointments. At least 25 other states, along with Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, also announced that they are taking J&J's vaccine doses out of their distribution plans. Those precautions may not be in effect for long, however. Acting FDA Commissioner Janet Woodcock said today that she expected the pause to last only for a matter of days. So that goes to what Melanie was commenting on in the chat room. She expects the pause to be brief. So if it's only a matter of days, that's wonderful. Dr. Ann Shushet, I'm not sure how to say that, Principal Deputy Director of the CDC, noted today that people who got the J&J vaccine more than a month ago are at very low risk for developing the blood clots. All 6 reported cases occurred in women 18 to 48 whose symptoms developed within 2 weeks after they received the shot. And by the way, so that's something to keep in mind if you are someone who's had the J&J and if you're worried about it. If you're more than 2 weeks out from when you had the shot, there's no reason to think that you're not in the clear. New Jersey's Department of Health said that all vaccination sites in the state have been told to cancel or put on hold appointments for the J&J vaccine until further notice. The agency said it will work with those sites to replace J&J appointments with an alternative 2-dose vaccine. Virginia will cease all Johnson & Johnson vaccines while the FDA investigates. Connecticut's Department of Public Health recommended all COVID vaccine providers stop using J&J for the time being. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and top health officials in his state issued a similar advisory. Massachusetts Department of Public Health notified all vaccine providers in the state to stop administering the J&J effective immediately. The other states are Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia. So we will see where we end up. But that is the scoop on that. And I think that, let's see here. There was something on Right Wing Watch that related to this that we might, well, there's something about vaccine conspiracies, but that stuff isn't as funny to me as it used to be. Let's end the first hour with something a little goofy, and then we'll take a break. We'll play a song at the top of the hour, and then we'll come back and reset. But we were talking earlier when Easy G called in about Nashville, Tennessee, and I did not know that Ricky Skaggs. If you're not familiar with Ricky Skaggs, I met Ricky Skaggs once a long time ago. I used to work for a concert promoter named Joe Fletcher. Joe now lives in California, but I know he does listen to the show. So hi, Joe, if you're listening. But Joe used to do, he promoted a number of different venues. One of them was the Capitol Center for the Arts in Concord. And he brought Ricky Skaggs to brought him there for a show. And so I got to meet Ricky Skaggs, very nice guy. And but I did not know. And by the way, extraordinarily talented bluegrass musician, more bluegrass than country. But I did not know that Ricky Skaggs was like a loony conspiracy theorist. So it says here, according to rightwingwatch.com, Ricky Skaggs says the election was a crime and God will return Trump to office. I had no idea. So, oh my goodness. And Ricky Skaggs looks very different than the way I remember him. He grew his hair out long, which is, I'm waving to someone who's off camera. No, it's not our friend Paulie C. He's coming in later. Ricky Skaggs, yes. Ricky Skaggs is in the studio. No, that would be very exciting. But I'm going to play this audio for you of this is from Right Wing Watch of take care from Right Wing Watch of Ricky Skaggs, who apparently has lost his mind and has grown his hair long. You know what I was starting to say is that's something usually you're more likely to have long hair when you're younger, and then when you get older, you cut your hair short. But Ricky Skaggs, I've never seen him with long hair before. His entire career, I never saw him with long hair. But now, I guess that he's crazy. He decided to grow his hair out or something. Let's see. Let's hear from Ricky Skaggs. Maybe he'll pull out his washboard and play us a song. No, the harmonies at that show I was at were remarkable. I will say that.
When I got to the inauguration that morning, he comes out on this platform. It was before he actually went over to be, inaugurated and have, swear in and all that. But he just come out and stood. And when he stood, I had this vision, and I heard a word from the Lord. He said, "Father of the nation." And I went, wow, that was what you call George Washington, Lord.
Right.
And then when I said that, I saw a vision of President, Donald Trump. He hadn't been president yet. It was in heaven, but it hadn't been on earth as it is in heaven. So it was 5-10 minutes before. But I saw him.
I'm already confused. Is anyone else following this? He saw a vision of Trump in heaven. Is he saying like Trump was dead and then ran for president in heaven and then came back to earth or something? I'm deeply confused. I can't follow this. Maybe I'm just distracted by the surprising appearance of Ricky Skaggs with his unruly long hair. And by the way, I'm not putting down long hair. I've had long hair off and on for over the course of my life, but it looks very strange on Ricky Skaggs. If you get a chance, go to Google Images and look up Ricky Skaggs' long hair. You'll be frightened, but let's show him the proper respect because, after all, he is not only a very talented musician, but apparently he's, the Lord's been speaking to him.
Standing almost like a general. It's like he had a general, Revolutionary War general's outfit on, like a George Washington,
Uh-huh.
And the Lord told me that the same angel that was with George Washington was with President Trump.
Wow.
Really?
Yes, he did. He absolutely did.
What kind of things is God showing you about Trump coming back? I don't think I specifically asked you this, so I don't really know what you're going to say. So the floor is yours.
By the way, that's something that I have in common with this other guy. I don't know what he's going to say either. Like, sometimes you kind of know where these guys are going to go. Like Jim Baker, he's going to try to sell you some of his food buckets, for when the rapture happens or whatnot. Based on what we've heard thus far from Ricky Skaggs in this clip, I genuinely don't know where he's going to go. I mean, I don't think he's going to talk about his new album or anything. I assume he's going to say something insane, but I genuinely don't know what it is. Brian Mackey in the chat room says Ricky ate the brown acid against all the warnings. Well, that may very well be true, but let's hear what he has to say next.
Well, I kind of stand, where Brother Johnny Enlow stands on all of this. I really, really do. I think he's a clear message, clear prophet, and of course, Kat and many others that believe he is going to, return as president.
Yes.
I don't know when, but I do know how.
Oh,
because if God is going to bring righteousness and justice is the foundations of his throne. So if he's going to bring justice together in the earth, in what he's doing right now, what the Lord is doing right now.
Amen.
With takedown of cabals, takedown of all this evil that's going on.
Sure.
And all of the pedophilia rings and the child sacrifices, all of that's going on. God.
By the way, I would just say this. We'll hear the rest of this. It's almost over, but any parents out there with kids who are maybe thinking about picking up a fiddle or a washboard, and joining a bluegrass band, just say no. Don't worry about if your kid wants to play death metal or something or some gangsta rap or whatever it is that you think might be too much. Don't worry about that. Worry about them talking about joining a bluegrass band, because apparently look, correlation is not causation, and it may be that every other bluegrass musician ever walked the earth has been perfectly sane, but something has gone wrong with Mr. Skaggs. That's all I'm saying. So, mama, don't let your sons grow up to be bluegrass musicians. I know it's look, I'm the master of the spontaneous song parody. What can I say? All right, let's hear the rest of this.
God is hearing the cries of those children, you know, and he's making this right. He's going to make this right. And so it is obvious as the nose on my face that the election, it wasn't fraud. It was a crime.
Oh,
it was absolutely a crime that happened.
By the way, I thought fraud was a crime. Like, I thought, I'm not sure I understand the, maybe we're splitting hairs here. I thought election fraud was a crime. Maybe it's a misdemeanor. I don't know. Maybe we'll have Ricky Skaggs on the show, and I can ask him. I mean, if he'll talk to this guy, why wouldn't he talk to me? Why not me?
And God is not going to stand by and let something like that be stolen.
He did, though. I mean, I hate to inject logic and reason into it, but he already did. Right? I mean, you know, wouldn't he have had an opportunity to intervene sooner? I mean, you know, he's God. I'm just saying.
He's going to do right by that.
Yeah, he's gonna. You know what? He's gonna say, "Hey, we need a mulligan." Brian in the chat room says, "So God is Republican. Who knew?" Well, I think we all knew that. I mean, I've told the story. I've told the story on the show. I know we have a lot of new listeners. For anyone who hasn't heard it, I had a dream. It was one of these. It was a very intense dream. One night, I was sleeping, and maybe I stopped breathing for a moment because, you know, I snore a little bit, got a little bit of the sleep apnea going, I guess. And but I had a dream that I had left my body. I was floating up out of my body, and I went up to heaven, and I met St. Peter. And St. Peter was like, well, you know, I don't know if you're going to get to meet God yet, but I can at least show you his office, because we're not sure we're going to keep you yet. We might send you back. You know, you've got that radio show you got to do. You have commitments. I don't know if you're ready to stay here. And but I'm going to show you the office. And he took me into God's office, and God wasn't there. He was probably in a meeting or something, but he showed me. There it was, you know, the big golden desk of God. And up on the wall behind God's desk, there was, of course, a very large American flag, because we are God's favorite, as everyone knows. And next to that was a large, beautiful portrait of Ronald Wilson Reagan, God's second favorite president ever. I think we all know who God's favorite president is. And then next to the desk and the big flag and the big portrait of President Reagan was a life-size cardboard cutout of Donald Trump, the godliest president in American history. And then I was very impressed by all this. And then I woke up. I guess St. Peter decided, no, I couldn't hang out there yet. I'm probably too liberal for heaven. You know, I like all my, you know, caring about poor people and, you know, wanting people to, you know, not go hungry or go without health care. You know, all that Jesus stuff makes me not suitable for heaven, probably. Wow, that presents a conundrum, though, doesn't it? It's almost like most people who claim to believe in that are just completely fake and phony about it. I don't know, but maybe not. I don't know. Who am I to say? Anyway, it is the top of the hour, just after the top of the hour. Let's take a quick break, shall we? We'll do a little Public Enemy here, and then we'll come back and we'll get into some other stuff. It is Tuesday here on Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we have plenty more to come. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. We are well into hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live on WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org. And, of course, MattConnarton.com. And hello to our friends at Raw Talk Online. And on the Facebook, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page on this Tuesday, March 13, 2021. Our friend Paulie C from Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C will be joining us later in the program. He'll be popping in. The number to call, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnarton.com. And, of course, you can always comment in the Facebook live chat or on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. I hear somebody's car alarm going off on Elm Street. I've got the window wide open. It was very warm when I got here today. I want to remind you, of course, we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot. Don't go there today because Monday and Tuesday is their weekend, but they'll be open tomorrow. They've got the wonderful the terrace set up. It's really, really cool for the outdoor dining because they're very committed to doing everything safely there. That horn is driving me out of my mind. I don't think the mic's picking it up. You guys probably can't hear it. That's driving me nuts. I'm usually really good at tuning things like that out. I know it's not my car because I'm in the parking garage. I might actually have to take a moment and shut the window. That is really bothering me. Anyway, yes, the wonderful outdoor seating at the Hop Knot. It's very, very nice. Hey, you know what? Since I still have it pulled up, I got to go shut that window. Let's pretend we do have some breaking news. How about that? Some breaking news I have to tell you about. Listen to this. I've never had to do that before. It's driving me nuts. I can still hear it even with the window shut. It's directly across the street. Nothing else bothers me as far as these noises. Like, we can have the window open and there'll be fire trucks going by and you hear the sirens and everything. But maybe that doesn't bother me because it's so brief. Like, that is still going. I've never heard somebody's car alarm go that long. It's killing me. It's like stabbing me in the soul. Jesus. Hey, if anyone within the sound of my voice, if you happen to be parked out on Elm Street by the Brady Sullivan building, check your car. See if your car alarm is going off. It's killing me. Oh, thank God. Somebody, or perhaps I should say thank Trump. Someone attended to their car alarm. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now it's very warm in here, and I regret shutting the window, especially since it did so little good. Anyway, all right, let's get back on track here. Did I mention breaking news? All right. President Joe Biden has announced that we will be withdrawing from Afghanistan by September 11, which obviously symbolic. It's only been a couple decades. Now, we've heard this before, so I am approaching this with a I'll believe it when I see it idea in my head. We'll see. But Melanie says, maybe it was Jesus sounding the alarm that you need to let the Lord into your heart. I think I have more of the Lord in my heart than most Christians I've met, like serious, like church-going people, to be honest with you. Because a lot of them don't seem to be too interested in anything. It's like We talked about it a little bit on the show yesterday. Most people I know engage in what I call ironic Christianity, where they go through the motions of, they love Jesus and they go to church and everything, while trying to actively have as little to do as possible with anything Jesus said or did or tried to teach us. So I think Jesus is in my heart. He's just, but there's just not much of him to go around, apparently, in this world. Like in some cases, the people who claim to love Jesus the most are the same people who, don't want to wear a face mask because for some reason, I guess, actually caring about the health and well-being of people around you isn't part of the deal. I guess loving Jesus means loving Jesus only, but not giving a crap about anyone else on earth. I thought Jesus was, into this whole idea you should love everyone, but that's right. We love Jesus, but we ignore Jesus. That's my assessment of, Melanie says, so then maybe it was Satan with the same message. I hope not. I don't want Satan to get me. I want to get one of those shirts. I actually like those shirts that say, "Not today, Satan." I'm not sure what the origin of that expression is, but I like it. So President Biden has announced we will withdraw all U.S. troops from Afghanistan by September 11th, the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks that led to the longest war in American history. 2 congressional aides briefed on the plan confirmed the news to The Hill. A senior administration official later told the reporters, the United States, quote, will begin an orderly drawdown of the remaining forces before May 1 and plan to have all U.S. troops out of the country before the 20th anniversary of 9/11. We judge the threat against the homeland. I've always found that creepy, the use of the word homeland. Sorry, just a sidebar there. We judge the threat against the homeland now emanating from Afghanistan to be at a level that we can address without a persistent military footprint in the country and without remaining at war with the Taliban, unquote. There's more to this, but just some quick thoughts. Were we ever, I'm sorry, maybe somebody can remind me, perhaps I've forgotten something. When precisely were we under some sort of terrible threat with the Taliban in Afghanistan? Funny enough, yesterday, Jenny and I were talking about the great film, Charlie Wilson's War. Tom Hanks plays Charlie Wilson, and I forgot his name again. Oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman plays the CIA agent he's working with. Great movie. Who attacked us on 9/11? This is basic stuff, and yet so many people still try to just ignore this or block this out of their minds. It wasn't Afghanis. Osama bin Laden recruited those people from the Wahhabi tribe in Saudi Arabia. If we should have invaded anybody based on that pretense, it would have been Saudi Arabia, who we would never invade. But, and then we got, so we go to Afghanistan, we get stuck there. Anyone could have predicted that. I predicted it. How did I know? How is it, by the way, this is interesting to me. How is it that not just me, many people predicted this. How is it that so many people like me, I have never served a day of my life in the military. I've never been in the government. I have no experience in foreign policy. Nothing, right? Just a citizen, just a regular old citizen. How is it that I was able to accurately predict what would happen if we invaded Afghanistan? I read a bit. I know that, I know what happened to the Russians when they invaded Afghanistan. Just talk to if you really wanted to know what was going to happen, you could have just asked the Russians. They would have told us, right? In fact, when American troops got to Afghanistan, one of the things that they noticed was the presence of Russian military gear. old Russian tanks and stuff that was still there from when Russia was there, and it didn't go that great for them. Afghanistan, where empires go to die. That's why I've always believed, and, I know I make fun of conspiracy theorists. Maybe I'll sound like one of them for a brief moment. Forgive me if I suddenly sound conspiratorial, but I think that everybody in our government who thought it was a great idea, the Bush administration, the George W. Bush administration, I think they knew what was going to happen. I think they knew we were going to get bogged down there. I think they expected it. I think that certain individuals were profiting from it tremendously. War is our greatest export. It really is. I mean, the military-industrial complex generates a lot of revenue. I think they knew what was going to happen. I think they expected it to happen. I think they expected it to get us to get bogged down there. And I think it was all by design, and it was a foregone conclusion, and everybody was just kind of fine with it because, in a post-Cold War world, we needed new enemies to fight, right? We needed new boogeymen. That's why we needed to go to Iraq and get rid of Saddam Hussein and dig him out of that spider hole he was in, right? And there were no weapons of mass destruction there. Of course there weren't, but we had to go anyway, right? That's why we had to go to Afghanistan. They did not attack us. The Taliban in Afghanistan did not attack us. I think it was at least not quite all, but almost all of those hijackers were Wahhabis from Saudi Arabia. That's where they were recruited from. But we still went. Michael Albert says the British also got caught in a quagmire in Afghanistan. Of course they did. So that's why I say I knew what was going to happen. How did I know? But George W. Bush didn't know. Dick Cheney didn't know. Don Rumsfeld didn't know. Condoleezza Rice didn't know. Paul Wolfowitz didn't know. Who else? There's so many of these clowns. How did none of them know? They couldn't figure it out, but I knew. George Tenet didn't know. He said it's a slam. Oh, I'm sorry. That was about Iraq, actually, the slam dunk part. But anyway. But I knew. How did I know? And none of them knew. Come on. Of course they knew. So we'll see. The plan, which Biden, again, this is from thehill.com, the plan, which Biden is expected to formally announce Wednesday, pushes back a May withdrawal deadline that was set in a deal with the Taliban signed by the Trump administration last year. But it sets a new formal deadline of September 11 in line with Biden's recent prediction the U.S. troops will be out of Afghanistan by next year. The new deadline was first reported by the Washington Post. The Biden administration has telegraphed for weeks it would not adhere to the May 1 deadline set in the U.S. Taliban deal, if only because of the logistical challenges of moving out thousands of troops and their equipment in a short time frame. Let me stop on that for a moment. That is why, look, it's going to be a big deal, right? Unless we're going to leave everything behind, like the Russians did somewhat. Unless we're going to leave everything behind. Yeah, Michael Albert says Al-Qaeda was based in Afghanistan. That's where the training bases were. Right. That was the excuse used. But it was Wahhabis from Saudi who attacked us. So, and we supported the Taliban, by the way, during the Reagan administration. They were our buddies. The Mujahideen. Anyway. So obviously it's a big operation to get everything out of there. And that is something that I always mention when I hear these people talk about, and of course it's a completely partisan thing, right? You're going to hear, it might even be further down in this article, if they haven't started, oh no, actually, I think Mitch McConnell said something about it. Although McConnell, to his credit, oddly enough, even though I disagree with him, he's been consistent, because when Trump said we're going to get out of Afghanistan, McConnell was critical of him as well. So Mitch McConnell, ironically enough, not being particularly partisan on this, even though I think he's wrong, But he's now criticizing Biden for wanting to get out. It's saying it's a mistake and whatnot. But he did, in fairness, he also criticized Trump on it. But I'm sure Mitch McConnell loves that old military-industrial complex, too. Most establishment Republicans and Democrats do, you know. And it's not, you know, I mean, there was a time when, you know, the Republicans were more the pro-war party and the Democrats were more the anti-war. You know, you had the hawks and the doves. The Republicans were the hawks, the Democrats were the doves. Now it's just one big, on foreign policy, it's one big uniparty. It really is. You know, everybody's pro-war. It's like I said, it's our greatest export. I mean, it's a great selling tool. You can sell people anything. That's how they sold us the war on terror. You know, it wouldn't have been as easy to sell to the American people if they had just called it like an anti-terrorism initiative or something like that. But you put war in it, people just eat it up. Oh, it's a war on terror. All right, we're going to go to war. Yeah, we love war. We're America. It's a very easy way to sell things. You could have, I mean, if the Biden administration or somebody in government decided, you know, that termites were a terrible problem nationally. You know, our homes are all the wood in our homes is being eaten up by termites. It's terrible. There's termites everywhere. We got to do something about these termites. We're gonna have the Department of, I don't know, who would do that? Housing and Urban Development. We're gonna have one of these government agencies try to do something to fight termites. No one would care. People would be like, what? Termites? Really? That's a big problem? Okay, well, I guess if it is a big problem, I'm glad they're going to do something about it. But you know what would work if they came out and said, you know what? This is such a big problem. We're going to have a war on termites. Great patriotic Americans everywhere would be going, what? A war on termites? Well, sign us up. This is a big deal, apparently. We're going to have a war on termites. All right. This is great. Where do I enlist? But the thing about, you know, these deadlines, Republicans will now, again, because they'll be completely partisan about it. They had nothing to say. I mean, it was amazing when Trump was president and he decided we were going to get out of Syria, which was a correct thing to do, except getting out of Syria, great idea, in my opinion. However, you can have the greatest idea in the world. If you decide you're going to execute that idea in the most ham-fisted, clumsy, awkward, reckless, putting no thought into how you're going about it way possible, then even the greatest idea in the world ends up being not that great, right? Great idea to get out of Syria, but the execution of it and basically saying, yeah, we're going to leave and here's this big power vacuum. Would you, the Russians, like to fill this power vacuum? Have at it. Go ahead. We need to redeploy these people to help the Saudis with their genocide in Yemen anyway. So here, yeah, okay, Putin, you just move right in. We're going to move right out. You won't get any trouble from us. But anyway, and of course, the Republicans had nothing to say about it. But they will say, just as they would say when Obama was president, if you set a deadline for withdrawal, just like Obama did with Iraq, which, by the way, was part of a deal negotiated by the Bush administration. But of course, the Republicans would conveniently forget that, and they'd be outraged that Obama was telegraphing our departure. And they're going to make the same argument about Biden. And here's what they're going to say. It is so predictable. They're going to say, well, by setting a deadline to leave, you're just telegraphing our intentions to the enemy so they can just wait us out. And then as soon as we're gone, they're going to wreak havoc and take over. And we're going to be right back to where we were before we invaded and made everything so great there. Right? That's what they're going to say. If you set a deadline, you're telegraphing your intentions to the enemy and you're making everything easier for them. The problem with that is the lack of logic, and again, they're completely partisan about it. They're only mad when a Democrat is doing that. There is no. It's not like you pack up and leave in the middle of the night. Look at what a nightmare it was getting out of Vietnam. there is a process to doing it. You don't just pack up and go, right? The enemy, quote unquote, is going to know, no matter what, especially in this era where you have satellites that capture all these imagery of everything going on. There's no way to hide that you're planning to leave. So this whole thing about telegraphing a date certain that we're leaving is BS. It doesn't matter. Once the decision is made to begin the process of leaving, they're going to know whether we've announced it or not. They're going to notice we're starting to pack up and go because it's going to take a long time. They're announcing it now with a goal to be out by September 11. How many months away is that? No, seriously, I'm asking you because I'm bad at math. It's a whole bunch of months away. You know, it's not like you just pack up and sneak away in the middle of the night. You know, leave a note. Hey, sorry, it didn't work out. I think we need to see other countries. We're leaving. You know, it's not like that. So, you know, this whole thing, well, we can't telegraph that we're leaving. Whether you announce it or not is completely irrelevant. They're going to notice when we're getting ready to leave. And they're going to have, just by observing what's happening on the ground, they're going to figure out roughly when we plan to be done there and hang that mission accomplished banner or whatever, right? They're going to know. So, because I know that's what's coming next. All these Republicans, well, the Biden administration, I can't believe they announced a date that we're leaving. That just means, you know, they're gonna wait until the day that we're leaving, and then they're gonna unleash some sort of bioweapon attack against our remaining troops or something. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Some suggestions for war in the Facebook live chat. Michael Albers suggested a war on poverty. I think there actually is a declared war on poverty. War on hunger. War on income inequality. Melanie suggested a war on mental health struggles. War on women getting paid less than men. And a war on a lack of human services. Well, first, now, and by the way, those are all great ideas. But before we start any more wars, I want you to consider my war on termites idea. I've met people who have termites in their home. And it's like, you know, somebody has a log cabin somewhere and they leave for work in the morning. They come home at night and half the logs in their cabin are gone. They've been eaten by termites. So this is something, you know, I mean, I may have been funny about it, but, or I may have attempted to be funny about it, but it is a serious thing, these termites. Anyway, asked if, again, this is from thehill.com, asked if U.S. troops will be in Afghanistan next year, Biden said he can't picture that being the case. He said, quote, "We are not staying a long time. We will leave. The question is when we leave." That was earlier in the year when he was talking about that May 1 deadline. Officially, the United States has about 2,500 troops remaining in Afghanistan, the number left there by former President Trump, who continued drawing down despite military advice to the contrary. Under the deal with the Taliban, the U.S. withdrawal is supposed to be contingent on the insurgents meeting certain commitments, including breaking from al-Qaeda and reducing violence in the country. But U.S. military officials have repeatedly said the Taliban has yet to uphold its commitments. While the Taliban has increased attacks on Afghan forces since signing the deal, it has largely refrained from attacks on U.S. and NATO troops. But the Taliban has threatened to resume attacks if troops do not withdraw by May. And in recent weeks, it has taken credit for rocket attacks that landed near two bases holding U.S. troops, a change apparently meant to pressure Biden as he decided whether to withdraw. A senior administration official said, quote, "We have told the Taliban in no uncertain terms that any attacks on U.S. troops as we undergo a safe and orderly withdrawal will be met with a forceful response," unquote. As Biden deliberated, outside experts and some officials and lawmakers warned a U.S. withdrawal without a peace deal between the Afghan government and the Taliban could cause Afghanistan to descend into full-scale civil war and eventually lead to the collapse of the Afghan government. By the way, that's a perfect. Melanie said, last one, war on repeat callers to the station. No. We love all the callers. Michael Albert suggested a war on EZG. Oh no. But no, I mean, look, concern, it is a terrible conundrum. It genuinely is. Concern about what happens when we leave is a perfectly valid thing to be very concerned about. It always has been. There's a very real chance that is true once we do fully leave, once we have fully withdrawn, that all hell will break loose. But the only alternative to that is we just continue to stay there. So you can't have it both ways. There's more to this, but I want to, we're getting a little bit short on time. I don't want to spend the entire second hour on that, but that is, I mean, that's a significant foreign policy development. There was something else too that grabbed my attention. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Well, you know what? The other thing, it's a foreign policy matter that's a big deal, but I don't want to, I do want to talk about, there's something unrelated that I do want to make sure that we get to today. But the other thing that maybe we'll tackle tomorrow is, the Biden administration has proposed some sort of a summit with Putin because things continue to, here, this is from rawstory.com just quickly, because this is something that has me genuinely concerned. As far as the Biden administration goes, I give them an A+ thus far on pandemic response, but I do have some foreign policy concerns. Raw Story reports Biden urges Putin to ease Ukraine tensions. U.S. President Joe Biden told his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to ease mounting tensions with neighboring Ukraine, joining a pushback against a buildup of troops along their border, which has raised alarm among NATO allies. I would like to see, this is my concern, I would like to, and I've been particularly concerned about that ever since that interview Biden gave where he was asked, he didn't voluntarily go down this road necessarily, but I think maybe he could have handled it a little more diplomatically, shall we say, when he called Putin a killer. I'm not saying bend your knee to Putin like our former president did in some instances. I mean, what happened in Helsinki is burned in my memory forever. But let's at least make some effort here, Joe, because one thing we must never forget is that the former Soviet Union, as much as we might like to think that they're no longer they are no longer the superpower that they once were, but they are still the largest possessor, the second largest after the United States possessor of nuclear weapons in the world. We are talking about a country that still has the capability to incinerate much of the United States in less time than it takes to have a pizza delivered. So, let's make some sort of diplomatic effort here, and so far, not seeing a whole lot of it. But I wanted to get to this quickly, and then our friend Paulie C. is here as well.
Hi.
Just entering the room, just sat down at the news desk. But some news today from Reuters.com. The police chief says the officer who fatally shot the black man in Minnesota. Oh, it looks like, according to this, both the police chief and the officer who fatally shot that man have resigned. That's Dante Wright. Sorry, I was blank. It's getting hard to keep track of all these different people, which is a very bad thing. But it says here, the Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police chief and the officer who fatally shot Dante Wright, a 20-year-old black man who struggled with police after a traffic stop, have both tendered their resignations. The city's mayor said today. Mayor Mike Elliott told reporters they resigned after the Brooklyn Center City Council passed a resolution to dismiss both the chief, Tim Gannon, and the officer who shot Wright, Kim Porter, a 26-year veteran of the police force. The move follows. Jenny and I were watching some of this last night. The move follows 2 nights of protests in the city of 30,000 people, just miles from Minneapolis, a city already on edge with the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with murdering George Floyd. Relatives of Wright have lamented the loss of a man they say was kind, liked basketball, and worked multiple jobs to support his 2-year-old son. Elliott said, quote, "I'm hoping this will bring some calm to the community," unquote, adding he had yet to accept Porter's resignation, leaving a path to firing her. Quote, "We want to send a message to the community that we are taking this situation seriously," unquote. Wright was shot on Sunday after being pulled over for what police said was an expired car registration. Officers then discovered there was a warrant out for his arrest, and an officer accidentally drew her pistol instead of her taser during a struggle with Wright, who re-entered his car, Gannon said on Monday. The officer was later identified as Potter, who can be heard on police video shouting, quote, "Holy S, I just shot him," unquote. So they have both the officer and the chief are out, and we will certainly be talking about that as the week progresses. But how are you, Paul? Welcome, Paulie C from Retro Spectrum Radio.
It's hot in here.
It is hot. Well, you know what? You know what happened earlier, and it was the first time. I don't know if you heard. Maybe you were listening. It was the first time it's ever happened in the history of this program. I had to get up and shut the window because somebody's car alarm was going off right across the street.
Really?
And it was driving me out of my mind. Mm-hmm. Out of my mind, Paul.
Up in here.
Up in here. We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It's Jenny.
Hey, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
Hey. Hi. How are you doing?
Are you calling because I'm here?
Actually, no.
Okay, good.
Aw.
No, but I wanted to say this just because I want to start putting this out there. I listened to a really painful interview with his aunt, and she was just like, I mean, the whole family is just devastated.
The aunt of
she brought up
Dante
the fact
Wright.
That the warrant that they're talking about was a misdemeanor bench warrant and had to do, well, I'm not sure if it was a bench warrant, but I know it was a misdemeanor warrant, but it was based on a cannabis charge, a misdemeanor cannabis charge.
Yeah.
If the federal government would simply do the right thing and get rid of move cannabis into the category it should be, into the class it should be, and this would have never happened. It wouldn't have happened in the first place. There are so many instances that young black men, especially men of color, end up in jail all around this country, loaded in our jails over a stupid cannabis charge.
Yeah.
Lives ruined over a stupid. The 20-year-old man had a brand new son, and a cannabis charge took him from this world. Was the cannabis charge justification for drawing either the taser or the gun? For real?
Reason.com has an article that just went up titled "Over-Criminalization Killed Dante Wright." An officer pulled the trigger, but Wright shouldn't have been pulled over in the first place. This just went up on Reason.com. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'll share it out to the
well, I'm glad that other people
Facebook
are seeing this, because, I mean, we were talking about it earlier, but I didn't see anybody bringing it up.
Yeah.
That the basis of the charge to pull him out of the car and try and handcuff him was a stupid cannabis, a stupid pot, weed, whatever you want to call it, charge. That's all it was. If if it was legalized in his state, would never happen. So let's just say it with the fact that this would have never happened in Massachusetts, in Vermont, in Maine, but it sure as heck could happen here in New Hampshire and could lead to somebody's death.
Yeah, well, that's
food for thought.
That's why I always say, if you end the war on drugs, a lot of this goes away. That needs to be part of the discussion. It gets left out a lot when we talk about criminal justice reform, and I'm not sure why. Because to me, it's a big piece of that puzzle.
This man, his life should have never been taken from this world over this. This is government overreach at its best, and what it does to just destroy families and criminalize lives that are, I'll tell you what, there's a heck of a lot more white guys out there, politicians that we could look back into history that had quite an interesting relationship with alcohol. Ted Kennedy, ring a bell?
Of course, yeah.
Like, how many times do you hear that story? But that's okay. Getting the girl drunk and taking advantage of her, that's okay. But a kid gets caught with a joint, really?
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yes.
I mean, and I don't know much about politics, but I do want to ask this.
Yeah, you know more than you pretend to, I think. But
well, Jenny, when you and Matt are home, do you, curl up in front of CNN?
No, Matt's always too busy working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm usually in front of a canvas with paintbrushes.
Okay. So there is no real attention being paid to with each other. When
on Valentine's Day.
Not that one now. Wait a minute.
On Valentine's Day, we curl up and watch CNN and MSNBC and some.
No, we don't.
And some C-SPAN even. If we really want to get into it, little C-SPAN, some congressional hearings.
When you guys are having a disagreement, do one of you put on Tucker Carlson just to piss the other one off?
No,
I put on my Supreme Court collar.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I have been watching the trial, though. That trial that's on TV right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh God, I can't stand that attorney.
Oh, I know. It's great, isn't it?
Well,
slime.
Whether we like it or not, Derek Chauvin is constitutionally entitled to the best defense available.
Yeah, but not a made-up one. Not one based in
right.
absolute BS.
Right. Well,
there's no fact it's based in.
No.
It's disgusting junk.
Right.
I'm confident Chauvin will be found guilty. I mean,
you better be.
You can't watch the video and really conclude much else. It's
disgusting.
Yeah.
How somebody can snuff life out like that, and he's there's something wrong with the man. They need to do a psych eval on him.
Right.
You got to be some kind of psychopath to do what this man did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how long? I can't imagine. I just can't.
Yeah. Well, all right, Jenny.
To sit there like that. Ugh.
Yeah.
I've done chest compressions on people, which takes a lot of physical exertion. You put your whole body weight behind it.
Yeah.
And worn out, in less than a minute.
Yeah.
It's just insanity.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to bring that up because they're going to keep trying to put this kid's name through the mud. They're going to keep trying to make him look like some kind of a drug addict bad guy.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a weed charge, okay? That's all it was. Which, by the way, is legal in New York now. Just throwing that out there, too.
Right. All right, Jenny.
You gentlemen have a wonderful rest of show.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Wow.
Well, we're already almost out of show.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Yes.
Hanging in there.
Yes. What do we have planned for Friday's Retro Spectrum Radio with Paul E.C.?
Oh, hold on. I'm going to put the microphone in my face the way you do it when you're when you're on the air with Retro Spectrum.
Well, I like to be. Well, I also have I'm very consistent. I also have the microphone in my face when I'm over here.
That's true.
Yes. I'm like a man of mystery.
On like Austin Powers.
Yes. Actually, hold that thought. We'll have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt Connarton Unleashed. What a great show today.
Oh.
You guys are doing such a great job. Listen, I'm going to be very brief. I know we're running out of time.
Yes.
And I just want to cut a couple of points. Do you remember when I got to say the name right. Forgive me. It's been a long day here. Who am I? Where am I? No, Easy E. Am I getting that right?
Easy G.
Easy G.
Easy G. Yes.
Easy G. When EGG called the other day, and he was talking about Clyde Lewis. Have you ever listened to Clyde Lewis out there in Portland, Oregon, at all?
No. I found him after a conversation with Eric. I did find Clyde Lewis online and just kind of sample the flavor there.
He's got an interesting show. He's kind of he'll deny it, of course, but he protests too much. He really is kind of a conspiracy theorist kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, he's brilliant. He's articulate, and he's got the greatest, you, of course, too. It's a tie.
Oh, thank you.
And your friend who's on today on the radio. He's got the greatest radio voice you've ever heard. You know, and he knows how to play it.
Oh, sure.
But here's my point. I was impressed by Easy, knowing him and critiquing him like that. I've critiqued him, too. I've called him and disagreed with him on a number of issues as well as agreed with him on some issues.
Yeah.
But I haven't called in a while. But he tends to get, like Art Bell was, I don't know if you know Art Bell, but Art Bell was like a little bit too.
Art Bell's a legend,
He tends to get overly illogical almost and talking these elliptical terms about UFOs and UFO phenomenon. So that's a little worry. But this is my point. I'm going to be very brief. I'm going to be very terse, as they say in Boston.
Yes, right.
Your analysis of Afghanistan today, foreign policy in general, was very Lewison. Clyde would agree with you completely.
Oh, no.
He talks articulately and logically about that, too.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to say that I remember when that happened, because we all remember the terrible, heartbreaking tragedy and stunning event of 9/11.
Yes.
There are some conspiracy theories that still circle about that, some of which, I won't go into it today, some of which I buy into a little bit, too. When you think of not only George W. Bush, but you think of Dick Cheney and Condoleezza Rice and some of these folks, ostensibly on the right. I don't always consider them really the right. Mm-hmm. I'm a conservative thinker. I'm a critical realist kind of philosopher, but they were invested in trying to create something dramatic. Mm-hmm. Like Pearl Harbor. You can see that in their papers, by the way. This is not just my saying this. But anyway, so that hit. And then he says, we're going to go into Afghanistan and knock out these guys. Because there was a civil war going on. I think a legitimate civil war. The Taliban on one side, and there were some freedom fighters on the other side who I think really were people who wanted a democracy. Not exactly like ours, but who wanted a democracy. So he goes in, full force. I remember Al and I, you remember Al Shago, Al and I talking about this thing. You could justify this if you have the right evidence, but as you're pointing out, we didn't know at the time how much the Saudis were involved. Right. And I'm glad you mentioned Yemen, because what's going on there is horrible.
Yes.
There's a lot of violence going on in the United States that's horrible, too, but I won't go into that right now. But so here is the theme, guys. I don't know if you remember this. I remember this like it was yesterday. We're going to go in. We're going to help them knock out the Taliban. In other words, from the point of view of winning their civil war, we'll help them, and then we're going to get out. And the symbol of this, which is indelibly etched in my consciousness till the day the Lord calls me, I think even beyond that, that's another story we're going to do. But do you guys remember George Bush, nice pilot guy, landing on that carrier and what he said to the public that day after they declared victory over the Taliban, over the bad guys in Afghanistan?
It's funny. I don't.
Two words.
Well, I remember the banner.
Mission.
Yeah.
What?
Mission accomplished. Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
And I thought, is he telling the truth? Al and I were both looking.
Right.
Now, if that's the truth, that's good policy. And he comes on with a dramatic, flying onto the aircraft carrier. I forget which one was. My favorite's the America for a lot of reasons. But so that made sense in the moment.
Yeah.
But we knew, and we didn't necessarily know. I didn't necessarily know, but we suspected this. And this is what you're talking about today, Matt. And it's very, very serious. The deep state, these guys on the left and the right in the alphabet agencies, particularly in the intelligence agencies, wanted us to stay there, and the corporations bought into it. Not all, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
The military-industrial complex that Eisenhower and others had warned us about, Adlai Stevenson, JFK was concerned about, and we know what happened there. It was unbelievably powerful, poignant, and just so undermining of our democracy, and that's what I see continuing now. And I won't comment on Biden. I don't think he's a legitimate president. You know that. I don't think he's competent. These guys are pulling the strings on the left. And what's happening with this Davos conference in Europe and Charles Schwab and these guys, Gates, that knucklehead. What's happening is there is a real movement through this deep state process now to take away all hope of capitalism and bring in the left and big government. I don't want to talk about spirituality, but spirituality is essentially out. It's the spirituality of big government.
He's still doing the short version. Hold on.
And
he's on a roll.
And the media.
Can't even hear us.
I know you guys are kidding about CNN and all that, but these guys are corrupt too. And what they're doing, these types, like Anderson Cooper and these types, I'm going to name them. They're taking the money, Matt, and running.
Academy Award music, and they're trying to get the
They're not competent journalists. They're not journalists at all. And Fox News, they're a bunch of baloney too. Dad, in most cases, although I do like Tucker.
Yes, we gotta. Dad,
I had to get that out there.
Dad, Dad, we're up.
I'm so happy you're talking about the deep state and what happened in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And again, we could see this coming. We should be out May 1st. Enough already. Yeah. So congratulations to you and the show today. And I know. Some people were commenting from around the table there, not the literal table, but the
on Facebook,
table. So this is a great show, Matt. Great show today, and the public needs to hear this. There's only so much we can do, but we need to stand up and fight back.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
All right, Dad, we are out of time, but I love you. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I left a comment too, Matt. Check that comment out.
Oh, I will.
I love you too. Love you, Jenny, and all the guys. You guys are doing a great job. I'm out of here. I'll let you go. Thank you.
All right, Dad. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Wow. Matt Connarton Sr.
He has a better radio voice than me, and I've always been kind of bitter about it.
I can see where you get all your insight and enthusiasm towards this stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, it is true. I think that a big reason why I got interested in politics at such an unhealthily young age is because of my dad.
Because of Dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with me with the DJing.
Really? Yeah.
Because ever since I was a child, he was a DJ here in Manchester.
Oh, right. Yeah.
FEA.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, they do it to us, those dads.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
They instill.
Yes. Well, it's part of parenting.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, we're out of time. What are we doing Friday night, Paul?
Friday night on Retro Spectrum Radio, we are going to be discussing and playing a bunch of movie and TV clips and music about the ocean, Matt.
Very good. Very good. The ocean. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dad, for calling, and Easy G for calling us earlier, and Jenny, and, of course, everyone in the Facebook live chat. And if you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit, WMNHradio.org. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.